Hi there, Natalie with you today with a new process video for Scrapbook Nerd. And this layout is actually a very fun one. This is a picture of my daughter and my niece and nephew, my littles. Actually, last week we have a backyard. Well, we have a pool in the backyard and they love to spend the time there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to combine a bit of mixed media with a 6x8 paper pad. So I'm going to use the Chimel Sparkle City. It's All Good by Dear Lizzie, and a little bit of Saturday Afternoon by One Canoe 2. And all of this came from the shop. I love 6x8 paper pads because I use them in my traveler's notebooks. And I actually, because I use a lot of cut files, they're great for backing areas in a cut file, which is what I'm going to do for this. Now, this cut file here is from Handipaper. My friend Ina designed it, and I think it's gorgeous. It's actually, I don't know if it's a free one, but it's one of her designs. And I'm going to use it because if you see the picture, there's a lot of color. It's probably going to say the last nice day, which was really hot for the kids to go to the pool. It's starting to get cool here in Toronto. So I took lots of pictures of the kids in the pool, and I'm going to document them. So what I'm starting with is a piece of, this is marshmallow cardstock from Basel, and I'm adding gesso to it using a brayer. I'm adding gesso because I'm going to prep the paper. I want to make it, I'm going to make it sturdier because I'm going to add quite a bit of water and mixed media to create my background. In my ideas, I want to create a very blue, kind of cloudy background. So you're going to see that right now, all I'm doing is using a pencil to kind of mark where the cut file is going to go. So I know where to add the mixed media. And then I'm going to pull, this I'm using Vicky Boutin's art crayons. And I'm going to pull all the shades of blue that comes in the set. So most of them come from the neutral, from the cool set. Only the navy blue comes from the neutral set. So all I'm going to do is scribble the crayons onto a piece of plastic, dilute them with a little bit of water. Then I'm going to add a little bit of water, either with this, my little spritz bottle or just some drops of water. And then I'm going to add the pigment using the plastic bag on top of it. And then I'm just going to spread it a little bit more using my brush and adding splatter. And I'm going to continue doing this with all the different shades of the art crayon. My idea was to try to go from the darkest to the lightest, but I don't mind having the splotches of color. And the reasoning behind it is because I wanted, like I said, a blue sky with clouds in it. I'm even going to add clouds later on. So you're going to see that I'm going to place time with the navy. I'm going to mix one of the lighter tones with it. And then I'm just going to continue working. You're going to see that in some areas I'm going to add tons of splatters. And in some other areas I'm not going to add too many. And that's why I actually use the pencil to kind of draw the area where I had my cut file, so I know how much of the mixed media to add. Now, it's always a good idea to go small with the mixed media, not big, and it's harder to go from big to small. It's better to go from small to big. So I'm going to make sure that I cover the area right outside where I drew, and then I'm going to expand it a little. So like I said, all I'm going to work, and the way that I use watercolor most of the time is by adding a little bit of water first, and then adding the pigment on top of it. So what happens when I add the water is just, because I have the gesso, it's not going to soak into the paper. It's going to stay on top of the paper. So when I add the pigment to the water, they kind of mix together and organically kind of like move around the page. And that's how my backgrounds most of the time come together, especially this way. And you're going to see that the areas are going to look, literally, it looks like a splotches of color. And I'm okay with that. Because I really, when I look at a sky that is with clouds, that's what it looks like to me. And I love it. So you're going to see, like I said, my idea was I'm going to start with the darkest color and kind of like, slowly progress into a lighter color. It doesn't work that way, of course, because, my plans never go as I think they're going to go. But I am going to create splotches of blue art crayon on my page, and I'm okay with that. I love what this turned out. I'm going to speed it up. I'm going to take it off camera because I'm going to repeat the same action, and I don't think you want to see me do the same thing. Now, like I said, the key to create this is that you're going to have a gesso paper. You can use regular cardstock as long as you add a gesso on the background, because you're going to play with water and pigment. So you're going to make sure that it doesn't soak into your paper and create a little buckle. This paper did not buckle that much. It did buckle a little bit because there were some areas where I added the watercolor that were outside or where I added the gesso. So it kind of curled a little bit in those areas. But I'm okay with that. It doesn't bug me that much. So I'm going to set it aside to dry, and while that's drying, I'm going to start working on backing this cut file. So the first thing that I'm going to use is There's a paper in the Shimeld Sparkle City pad that has a sun rays, like a sun shining, and I loved it. And I was hoping that I can create the little center that said "Let the sun shine in." But for more that I moved the paper, I couldn't fit it into the circle. So my choice is I'm gonna actually work in little pieces. So I'm starting with this paper. It's from the It's All Good collection. And what I'm doing is I'm just gonna add some glue to the little, I'm gonna say look like the tiny little sun rays, looks like little flower petals, and I'm gonna add little pieces of the yellow paper. Then I'm gonna bring that paper that I'm talking about, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add glue behind the bigger sun rays, and then I'm gonna glue them so that the little lines that the paper have looks like they are coming out of the circle that I have in the center. You're gonna see that I'm gonna carefully add glue. I'm not adding glue to the little petal that has that deeper tone of yellow, because I'm actually gonna add a little bit of foam adhesive just to add some movement in the sun rays. And then I'm gonna continue filling out all the sun rays. Now, because I want the center of this sun to be like really pigmented, and I couldn't find any of the papers that I like that had the tone that I'm looking for, I'm actually gonna create my own pattern paper. And for that, I pulled a little piece of watercolor paper. You can use any cardstock, but I have watercolor paper at hand, and I'm gonna use the art crayons. I'm using the warm tones. I'm gonna use yellow. I'm gonna use that orange, and that I'm gonna say looks like a gold tone that comes in the neutral set from Vicky's. The other ones come in the warm set. And all I'm doing is I'm gonna add water onto the watercolor paper and then add the pigment and move it around. And that's it. I wanted something that was very deep, a deep yellow with little hints of orange. So once I have pretty much the area of the circle, I'm gonna say like kind of a semicircle. You're gonna see that I'm gonna add a little bit of splatters just because I wanna have the same look that I have going on the clouds, on the background, onto the sun. And I'm gonna set it aside to dry for a little bit, and then bring it back after to back the CAD file. So I'm gonna set it aside to dry and continue backing the CAD file. Now, like I said, the beauty of working with paper pads is that the designs are, I'm gonna say are smaller first of all, and there's a lot more variety of designs that you can find in the 12 by 12 papers. So for example, this paper here that has all the bricks has a little tone of fuchsia that my niece is wearing on her goggles, and also my daughter has that color in her bathing suit. So I'm gonna use a piece of it to back the one of the rainbow arches, and then for the other one, for the bigger one, I'm actually gonna bring the 6x8 paper pad from One Canoe 2 to back it. And the way I go is I just there's different ways of backing a CAD file. I just like this one because for me it's faster. So what I do is I add a little bit of glue right behind the outline of the area that I want to back, and then I put it right onto the paper and then just fussy cut around it. It makes it easier for me. It's something that I'm used to. It takes time though, like backing a CAD file, it can take some time, so keep that in mind. So to back the clouds, because I put all the work into the background, I don't want to cover them with white. Instead, I'm going to cover them with vellum. I love the translucency of vellum, and I love the softness that it adds to anything. So I'm going to back my clouds with some vellum. Vellum is something that I have lots of because I love working with it. So I just had some pieces left over from different projects, and I'm going to use them to back the cloud. Now, I'm going to start. Sorry, I'm going through, it's allergy season right now, so I'm really stuffy. My apologies for that. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to add actually more clouds onto the background. And for this, I am using this Echo Park Oh Baby. It's from the Oh Baby collection. And I'm going to add a little bit of white acrylic paint using one of Vicky's stencil brushes. You can use also an ink blender. And all I'm doing is picking up the paint in this case and just kind of stippling through the clouds. And I'm going to set it aside to dry. This takes no time. It dries really fast because it's such a thin application. But it is not going to be something that is going to show a lot. You're going to see just a little shadow, but it's going to give you the idea of clouds, and I love it. Now, until that dried, I actually went and backed the entire CAD file. Not back, but I added foam adhesive to the lines of the CAD file because I want to make sure that it stands, it kind of props from the page. I love the shadow that you can create by adding a little bit of foam adhesive. Now that I have everything in place, I'm going to actually start working on embellishing and backing the picture with some papers. And for that, I am using the paper that I cut from the Shimel paper pad, the one that I used to back the arch of the rainbow. And then I found this rainbow paper in the It's All Good collection, and I thought it was perfect. We're playing with rainbows here. And I'm just gonna, like I said, I had an idea where that was gonna go. So I'm gonna go ahead, add some foam adhesive, and glue it onto the page. Now, the only thing that you don't see here, I think the camera stopped because it was running out of battery, is that I am actually gonna cut the sides of the paper. You're gonna see right now I am adding the foam adhesive behind the little arches. I just want that movement in the sun, but I'm gonna cut the sides of the paper. I didn't want to have all the white space. I wanted to bring color. This layout is actually gonna go into my nephew's album, so I wanted something with a lot of color. So you're gonna see that what I did is I trimmed the sides of the pages, the left and right, around a ½ inch, and then I'm gonna glue this paper. This paper is from the One Canoe 2 12-inch paper pad. I have both the sets, and I cut like around 3 inches of each one of that paper, and then I'm just gonna glue it onto the sides of the page, and this is gonna bring more color to the paper. Now here's gonna go all about embellishing. I pulled all the pieces that I had from the Shimel collection. I'm gonna use that sunshine. I love the fact that it's holographic. It has a pink undertone, but I love the way it looks. It's like, I don't know, I love the font. I love the holographic look of it. So I'm gonna add it right on the left of the picture, and then I'm gonna bring the Joyful Day collection little alphas just to finish spelling the title. It's gonna read the Sunshine Gang, because the 3 of them, they're the ones that are gonna pull together. I'm just the one that sits on the side to take pictures of them, and in case something happens, to jump in the pool, because you know what, I happened to be a lifeguard when I was young, so I'm always try to stay close to them. And then after that, I'm just gonna bring stickers from the collections just to add a cluster. I'm gonna add a cluster on the top right corner of the picture, just where the sun kind of hits the layout. And then I'm gonna actually add another cluster right at the bottom right corner of the picture. Just I'm kind of creating my triangle, and then I'm gonna add this a little pop of color on the top left corner of the layout, like right behind the rainbow. I thought I needed more color in that area, so I found these balloons in the Shimel cardstock stickers, and it has all the colors that I'm using, so it was perfect to add there. And you're gonna see all I'm doing right now is just gonna bring a few more elements. Brought this ephemera pack from the Joyful Day collection from Pink Fresh Studio, and I love the fact that it says something about Seeker of Everyday Dreams, and this is pretty much what the kids do when they're here. They can live on the pool. So after that, I just added a few more stickers. I think some of them are from Paige's collections, and the other ones are more from Shimel's collections. I am adding some enamel dots just to bring more color. These are from Pink Fresh Studio, and also a Simple and Sweet collection, and also from the Little Princess collection from Simple Story, just because it had all the colors that I'm looking for. I added my lines to journal right underneath the title, and that's about it. This was super fun to put together just because it's full of color. I love how it looks. Like I said, maybe it goes into my nephew's book, maybe it goes into my niece's book, I don't know, but I love what it looks like, and I hope you try it. If you have any questions, as always, don't hesitate to contact me. Check the paper pads. The 6x8 paper pads are a great paper pad to have. Like I said, there's lots of patterns, there's a lot you can do with it. And if you're missing anything, like any color, just create it the way I created the little piece for my son. As always, like I always said, check the store. Everything that I use here comes from the store. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you so much for joining me today, even though I'm stuffy and I sound really horrible. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.